Hello everyone. Trying to get the best situation right here. Hello everybody out in YouTube land. To all my followers, thank you and for your following, and I hope all of y'all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope life is fine and doing well and happy on your side of Oblivion. I am Tiamat the Dragon Lady, also known as the Bearded Dragon. I got my hairs on my chinny chin just finally coming in, aren't they? Bearded Dragon. Anyway, I want to apologize in advance for the quality of the video because number one, I'm using my phone, which has a pretty good camera, but the quality of the video is diminished because the apartment where I live, the lights up on the ceiling have a yellow hue to them, and I don't like that. I like bright white lights, and I haven't replaced them. So my apologies for looking kind of yellowish, but it looks kind of interesting on my scales, don't you think? It makes my green eyes pop out. It's been a while since I have done a YouTube video, and I decided today that it's time for me to crank it up a little bit on YouTube, and that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm cranking it up a little bit on YouTube, coming to you from Oblivion in Houston, Texas, with my baby Alfred. Hey, Alfred. He likes to lay down next to me. I have my snazzy Mod World t-shirt. What do you think? What do you think? Tell me. I'm so proud of it. The message for Mod World is underneath our skin, we are all the same. That's one of the things I'll be talking about in one of my upcoming YouTube videos. Not tonight. Tonight is just for show. But tonight I decided to, like I said, crank it up on YouTube, get my YouTube channel coming back to life, and something I've been planning to do for a long time, but just never got to it. Been too busy on other things and giving Donald Trump hell on Twitter. But I'm taking a break from that for a little bit to take care of business and do my own thing. Forget Donald Trump and what's going on over there. They can all take care of that. They got people over there doing everything. I can just take a break from it for a while. I'm going to step off that merry-go-round for a few days. I have decided that going forward, I am not going to be doing any more live news feeds on Facebook. My live news feeds will all be done on YouTube and shared to all my other platforms. One of the reasons is, as I mentioned, I'm cranking up my YouTube channel, bringing it to life, resurrecting it basically, because it's been kind of dormant and dead for a while. But it's time to bring it back to life. And by moving my live news feeds from Facebook to YouTube, number one, the main thing that I'm trying to achieve is not only reach a greater audience, but to be able to retain my videos and safekeep them. And my channel is my channel. Stuff posted on Facebook is Facebook's. And I'm taking my stuff away from Facebook and keeping it to myself. And what prompted me to do this and to not do any more live news feeds on Facebook is that people keep reporting me as fake. And the people at Facebook believe them. And so my profiles get shut down because I'm being reported as being fake. So I no longer have a personal private profile on Facebook. I have a public page, which I'm going to use to just post my YouTube stuff. And pardon me while I get comfortable here, but Alfred moved and gave me the opportunity to plug my phone in and reposition myself. And he's going to reposition himself too, so there we go. Okay. I feel so discombobulated over here. My phone just unplugged. There it goes. Okay. I apologize for that. No, it's a good thing no one's paying me to do this video, because they would be totally bombed. Like, oh my God, what is she doing? Okay, so I'm not posting any more live news feeds on Facebook or Twitter. All my live news feeds are going to be on YouTube. So if you're a regular YouTuber, you'll be seeing me, hopefully, and I'll be seeing you. I want to talk about tonight what it has been like for me to live with depression from the time I was a teenager, and how depression has affected my life and how I'm dealing with it now, because it has been an ongoing lifelong thing. So and one of the reasons I decided to resurrect my channel again with this topic in particular is because I have done so many interviews over the course of the last 2.5 years. And a lot of people, because I read the comments from all the interviews that are posted on Google, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere on the internet, different other platforms. So I try to read all the comments if possible, but some of them is just impossible, because some of those interviews have over 100 million views, and I can't respond to that many people individually. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be responding to and talking about certain things, certain elements of my interviews from the viewpoint of how I see them, because there are certain things that I mentioned to the British press, for instance, for example, that they didn't mention in the interview, and I thought it was pretty important, and they didn't mention it. So I'm going to be talking about things like that, and then also maybe setting a couple of things straight, because they mentioned that, well, some of the things that were said weren't right. So I'm going to be, setting the record straight. Not in a bad way, just saying, hey, people, I didn't really say that. This is what I said. So just to make sure people know what I'm saying. I think they should. And I think whatever I say is what people should say that I said. So anyway, but one of the things that people commented and really were, not everybody, I must say not everybody, I'm going to qualify this what I'm going to say by saying that I appreciate everyone who has watched my videos everybody who has seen my interviews and read my story. Whether people support me, because I'm an it, support the it me, or not, it really makes no difference to me. I appreciate those people who do show support, whether they like it or are just indifferent to what I'm doing. And for those who are so vehement in their ugliness, in their hateful words that they say to me, all I can say is, dude, listen, I've been doing this for 20 years. I didn't just fall off the turnip truck just yesterday. So if y'all think that all those negative comments are going to affect me in a negative way, just know it's not going to work. So try something different. Or just be nice and quit being so ill-mannered. You know, why did your mother teach you? Did your mother teach you to call people horrible names because they may or may not be mentally ill? Did you learn to be hateful to people who are mentally ill? Where did you learn to make fun of people who are mentally ill? And the reason I'm asking that is because, yes, I am mentally ill. But honestly, if people just asked, if you just took the time to ask me in a nice way, instead of attacking me in a vicious way about my mental illness, I would be happy to talk to you about it like I'm doing right now. So I just want to tell all the haters out there, you know, good luck with that. But really, I am suffering from mental illness. It's been a lifelong thing for me. And I'm going to be talking about it very openly and candidly. And you know what? This is my life. It's my book. And it's my story. And I write my story. Nobody writes it for me. Not even someone who I do an interview with who gets it wrong. Nor people who don't know me, who see me in interviews and lash out at me for whatever reason they have. Some of the reasons that some people lash out at me online in my interviews is just really funny. And I really seriously do sit here and laugh. It's kind of like a little comedy hour for me to go and read some comments. I'll go and sit and read comments for about 2 hours and have myself a good laugh and get to read some nice positive comments from people, because not everybody is mean and ugly. And to be honest with you, the majority of the people that comment and the majority of the people who see me in person out in public and stuff, I have never met anyone who has been rude to me out in public. Never. There have been a lot of rude people on the internet. And all I have to say is, you all need to come over here, stand in line, and let me give you a good old-fashioned bare butt spanking. Hand spanking. Wet hand spanking. Because that's what you deserve for being so rude and for being so nasty. What do you think that it's going to Make me do what? Run away? Disappear? Oh my God, you're being ugly to me. I better go hide. I don't think so. I don't do things that way. So, yes, I do have a mental illness. I do suffer from mental illness. I do have a mental illness. I just said that, and I'm thinking about that. I'm trying to give myself an answer. What exactly does that mean to me? I have a mental illness. It's like I have 5 fingers. Maybe if I take one of them off, I will have 4. Oh, maybe I can take off my mental illness that way too. So, no, I don't have a mental illness. My mind isn't ill. It works. I have a condition called depression. Chronic depression. And I also have a condition called anxiety. And I also have another condition called PTSD. And that's a triple whopper of a combination right there to have. Something new that I will need to add to that is I've been recently having panic attacks, but that's a result of my new medication that I'm taking. And that's one of the things I'm going to talk about. But first I'm going to begin way back when. Oh man, where's my music? With the little whirly spinny thing that takes you back in time. Just pretend I'm just a little child. Pretend I'm a little child. Just 4 years old. Maybe 5. Okay, 5. When the reason I am being treated for PTSD, I was diagnosed with PTSD, so I'm being treated for it, with a combination of medication and therapy, both psychological and psychiatric. I don't know. Some of you out there probably were going to call me a mental case. Look at her. She removed her ears. She is, oh my God, she must be really suffering and so sad. Yes, I have been suffering. And yes, I have been sad. But not for the reasons you're thinking. In my recent video that I did with the Wizard of Oz, it was done, I did the interview in Bruni, Texas, the small town where I grew up. And I went back in time because I went to one of the very spots where I used to go. I used to walk as a kid in the first grade, like a mile and a half into the woods to the ranch from the highway where the bus dropped off. And that was really hard because that's the ranch where my mother and my stepfather and I never thought I would be back there, but I did. It was something that I just had to do, and the universe made it happen. When I left home in 1979, after I graduated from high school. I had turned 18, and I walked up to my grandfather, and I said, "Papa, Dad, I'm leaving." He couldn't believe it. He was just floored. He was frozen. Not out of all the male-born children that my grandfather had, plus the adopted male-born children, which was me and my little brother Bob, I was the only one who was different from all the other boys. And my grandfather said, "What do you mean you're leaving?" I said, "Look, my father wants to be your son. And we have spent the last 12, I would say 11 years at odds, fighting with each other." And I said, "It's not supposed to be that way. You're supposed to be my father, and I'm supposed to be your son, and we're supposed to love one another and get along with each other." I said, "And I'm not going to stay here and fight with you anymore. I'm not going to continue this. I'm leaving." And I left. I left home. I never went back. That was in 1979, 37 years ago? 38 years ago? I forget. Yeah, 38 years ago. Wow, time flies. But I went back to my hometown December of last year, and I stayed there for 6 months with my brother and his girlfriend. And my time there, I had a good time with my brother and with his girlfriend and her family and everyone there. You know, the being referred to in the male gender got kind of old. And being called Ricky got kind of old. But I loved being in Bruni. It's a beautiful little town. I have many fond memories of my childhood there because I was a child of the wilderness and I was always out in the woods. The reasons, so I could get away from my grandfather. Before I was abandoned by my parents, by my mother and my stepdad, I want to say something about that. Because I talked about this in my interview with Tosh Puina. And he said, "Oh, that's not," he had a negative reaction to me telling him that I was abandoned by my mother and my stepfather in the middle of the woods at nighttime. And he was just taken back. And he was floored. And And then I said, well, and I don't hate my mother. He goes, oh, you should. I said, no, he didn't. I take that back. I told him, I'm not mad at my mother. He goes, well, you should be. And I said, I don't hate her. He goes, well, I think that's when he said, well, you should, something like that. Excuse me. So, my mother actually saved my life by agreeing to abandon me. That's why I cannot never hate my mother. But I will talk more about that later. Me and my mother, I mean. My mother was saving me from the abuse that was going on, that nobody talked about, that nobody ever said anything to anyone about. That my mother never said anything to anyone about. Because if she did, then she would get beat up. But she got beat up anyway. And I had to see that. I could go on forever, and this would be just an eternal video. You would probably get bored and sick and tired of watching me. Or, I don't know, maybe you already are. But, yes, I just wanted to respond to the answer, to the question, to the comments in some of my interviews about mental illness. And to everybody who was demanding or saying that I should be locked up and the keys should be thrown away. You know what I got to say to that? I will eat your heart and drink your blood. Hey, whatever floats your boat. If you want to be mean and nasty and ugly to me, go ahead. I'll just have another bowl of popcorn while I read your comments and laugh. Everybody, I want you to meet my little boy, Kofefi. Hi, Kofefi. He's a little baby. He's a sweetie boy. He's a little sweet boy, Kofefi. He's a lion. I just love you, sweetie boy. That's Kofefi. Don't forget. Because if you come to my house and you don't pet him, he'll be mad at you. So yes, you might seem like I'm rambling or whatever, but this is just how I talk, okay? We're just having a chill moment right now, me and everybody out there who's watching this in YouTube land. And I'm actually enjoying getting back on YouTube. But I will be ending this video here pretty soon because I have said what I need to say. Further to what I have mentioned, I can say that I am under treatment. Like I said, I am seeing a psychiatrist and getting medication. I take Seroquel for anxiety, and I also recently just started my treatment for depression. I'm taking Pristique, and the first 3 weeks were really rough. The fourth week was kind of up and down, up and down. The fifth week, the better times were more frequent, and the not so good times were less frequent. So by the end of week 6, I was like, wow, I think I'm really feeling okay now. I'm not feeling really depressed. Don't have to be in bed all day long. I can wake up in the morning with a smile on my face and smile at the sun and dance. So my treatment is going very well. Both my therapy, my psychiatric therapy and my counseling. And I'm working through some issues that affect me and are the reason for my depression. So I have worked through one major hurdle. I have jumped one major hurdle, I guess. And that is, like I said in that interview with the Wizard of Oz, my parents, the parents that I recognize as being my parents, are my reptilian parents, and they are the Western Diamondback rattlesnake in particular. I consider myself to be more than human. I consider myself to be a reptilian. And I'm in the process of changing as much of my physical attributes as possible, moving away from looking like a human and swinging the pendulum more towards looking more reptilian. Because like I mentioned in that interview with the Wizard of Oz as well, is I refuse to die in this world looking like a human. But my mental illness, my mental condition, I hate to call it, I guess my condition, my mental illness condition, doesn't stem, and it's not the reason in and of itself that I am modifying myself. I wasn't depressed, and I didn't hate myself to the point that I had to remove my ears. I didn't hate myself, and I wasn't like wanting to just go kill myself. So that's the reason that I took my nose off. Ay, people. Not directly. I guess in a way, what I'm doing to myself can be related, I would say in a dotted line, to my mental illness, because the reason for my mental illness are the things that happen in my life. And the reason I'm changing myself is because of those things. And one of the things that I resolved when I spoke to my counselor that I'm talking to her about, I haven't finished resolving it yet, but I know where I'm going. And that is, I am shedding not only as much of my physical attribute as possible, of my human physical attributes as possible. I am shedding my life, my human life. I don't want to be human. And in shedding my human life, I'm shedding all the baggage. I'm shedding all the pain. I'm shedding all the ugly things that happened. I'm shedding all those tears. And I'm shedding everything that goes with that. And that includes everyone that I am blood related to as a human. From this point forward, completely and utterly, perfectly satisfied to be alone in this world and be related to no one. I have no relatives. My mother, who's still living, aunts and uncles, if I have any uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, brothers and sisters, and even my son. I am releasing all of that, leaving it behind. I don't want that burden. It's not my life anymore. All of those people that I mentioned, they're not like me, and I'm not like them. The mere fact that through the consequence of the gene pool, we were born into the same family doesn't mean that we are family. Family is someone who wants to be around you and wants you to be around them. Someone who's not going to criticize you, who's going to accept you and love you for who you are and for what you are. Not make fun of you behind your back. Not be seen as just the freak. All my life, from the time that I was very young, I was different. I was different, and I was always talked about being different. I was always the talk at the dinner tables, at barbecues, at family gatherings, company. When company would come over and visit, or we'd go over and visit company, I was always the talk. I was always in the discussions on why. Because I was queer. I was the queer. But I was always open. I was never in the closet. Never. And I refuse to ever go into a closet. Unless it's one that has my clothes in it and my shoes. So I was talking to my therapist and I told her, the new apartment that I moved into, it's on a street called Emancipation. And I said, interesting enough, it's like a sign to me. Living here in this apartment, it feels good. I love it. It's my favorite apartment that I ever lived in. I love it. I just absolutely love it. Everything about it. Except, I think I love everything about it. But, I was telling my therapist, my living on Emancipation Street was really not a coincidence. I don't believe it was a coincidence. I think it's the mysterious workings of the universe that brought me here, where I feel happy, where I feel safe. I didn't feel safe at first because it's a really strange neighborhood. Really strange. There's some questionable things going on out there on the street sometimes, and I just don't look. I just keep looking straight ahead, minding my own business. I got blinders. I don't see what's going on. Mind your own business. I'll mind mine. But the universe brought me here, and I really feel that. I believe that everything about me is good. People love me. People respect me. It's very nice to me. They leave me alone, and I like that. When I don't want to be left alone, I'll go out and talk to them, and they're happy to see me. But I was telling her I moved on to a street called Emancipation Street, and this is where I'm working out some problems in my life that I have to work through with my family, with my blood family, with people who I'm related to through blood, but they're not really family. They're not family. They're just relatives. I don't need relatives. I don't want relatives. I want to be emancipated, totally alone. I don't want to worry about having to visit someone or think about someone or calling them and wonder what's going on in their life, and I don't want them to stay out of my life too. Unless they're willing to be my friend first. Because really think about it. If you can't be my friend, how can you be anything else? How can you be more than that? And the fact that we're blood related, I'm sorry, that just doesn't mean anything to me. It really doesn't. So, I worked through that. I solved that problem. And I feel like I have reached a new level of awareness, of self-awareness. Because you know what? Some people out there might say, oh my God, she's being so mean to her family. Oh my God, she's being so mean. Everybody chill out. Chill out. We're all going to die one of these days. I'm not going to die in the arms of the people that I'm blood related to. And when I'm gone, what difference is it going to make anyway? So, oh, Covfefe woke up. Hi, Covfefe. Want to show her? Covfefe. Covfefe. Oh, you're just sleeping, little boy. That's my baby. He's my baby. So that is what I wanted to talk about in this video. And say it, because saying it is an affirmation, and I needed that affirmation. And I felt it was a great way for me to talk about my mental illness, share my condition openly. And I will be talking more about it going forward, different things, because it's not just one thing. There's combination. It's like a universal, it's like a sky full of stars, number of things that I'll be talking about later going on. But anyway, I feel like if I don't stop this video now, I'm going to ramble. So I want to say, everybody, you know, it doesn't matter if you have tattoos. It doesn't matter if you have piercings or not. It doesn't matter if you have blonde hair, blue hair, multicolored hair, mohawk, no hair. Tattooed faces, no tattooed faces. A mouthful of beautiful teeth, a mouthful of empty spaces. You know what? None of that makes us all any different from each other. Because underneath our skin, we are all the same. So love everybody, love yourself. Bless you. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you for tuning in to my channel. And when you get a moment, please visit The Wizard of Odd and check out my interviews there too. I will be doing another interview tomorrow. Much love to you from Oblivion.